Guys, and welcome back to another centerpiece design. I know it's been a long time since I've done a video for you guys. I apologize if a lot of you guys follow me on Twitter, you know what I've kind of been up to. So we're going to go back onto a regular schedule. Starting this week, we're going to do a video a week. The day hasn't fully been decided. I'm going to try to aim for about Thursday, Friday, but we will see depending on editing, schedules, and everything else. But this is just a little update of what has been going on. As you guys know, I am now married, happily married of course, and we did do our own centerpieces. We actually did a lot of our own designs, which is the best part of the whole wedding, was actually going through and making everything. So for the next month, I think, the videos are going to be about all the designs that we did for our wedding. So we're going to give you guys a breakdown of how our wedding went. You're going to get design ideas from our wedding, maybe hopefully to help your wedding, so on and so forth. Also, what you guys have been missing is I started my design website. So I do event designs now and do wedding decor, I do wedding planning, a little bit of everything. So check out the website. It's www.sunkissedarizonaevents.com. I almost forgot my own website. Silly me. Anyways, so yes, I do now do events. I will put the website link below. So my events are now open to the public. So we will start that, of course. So let's get started on the design. So what the design is this. Now it's a little bit dented now, sadly to say, because it has been shipped and it's been messed up in the process. But this was actually shaped a lot better before, and as you can see, there was 3 of them. So I will be posting the pictures so you guys will see them in picture form as well. They're very easy to make. People use these little balls. It will be a singular ball we're doing today, of course. They use it for light fixtures, designs, maybe just a table centerpiece, kind of a little bit of everything. So we decided we weren't big fans of flowers, so for our weddings we just did this for our centerpiece with a light underneath using fairy lights, which are really cool. And I will go through all that stuff probably in another episode, but you guys will see these in action in the pictures. So what you need for this project will be a few things. You'll need a few bowls, so you will need a big mixing bowl. You will need cornstarch, which I have here, about 1 cup. You'll need a little bit of warm water. Now, it's a rough estimate, and I only have a little bit in here because I'm not going to do a full-blown centerpiece like I did on that version. We're going to do kind of just one balloon to show you how it's done. This is going out to, of course, my friend M.M. Koza. She's actually a friend of my husband Zach. So she was doing this project before and she asked for my help, and so this is kind of like a layout kind of just for her, but I mean for you guys as well if you end up doing this project yourself. So you also need some white glue. It doesn't have to be the original tacky glue, it can be any type of white glue that you have around. You will also need petroleum jelly, so Vaseline, anything else, and this is critical. When I mentioned her the instructions before, I forgot to mention this, and this is so critical, and I felt really bad. So you'll need a mixing utensil, scissors, string, and a balloon. Now the string that you use has to be of a cotton material, and the reason I say that is you don't really want it synthetic. Synthetic materials don't really absorb well, and so I used yarn because it is 100% cotton and it is going to absorb everything. And the reason you want it to be absorbent is because you want it to absorb the glue. If not, the glue won't really hold and you will end up having a floppy mess. So make sure you try to get as much cotton in it as possible, or any type of not man-made material, any type of natural fibered material will work mostly. So let's get started. So you'll start with your bowl. You're going to add in glue. Now, I don't remember how much glue. I went through, for all my centerpieces, I think I went through like 3 of these. So you do need a lot of glue to do this project. And mine might be glued shut because I've just used it so much. Okay, so we're going to dump this glue in here. Now, when I did my centerpieces, depending on how many you're doing and depending on how big they are, will vary on how much you need here. Now, I did mention just 1 cup of cornstarch. That's because you do need a lot of cornstarch. So if you end up doing, I don't know, if you end up using more than one of these containers, I would suggest using more cornstarch. But we're only going to do a demo here, so I'm not going to really need that much. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue, and we're going to use a little bit of this. I'm not even going to use all of this. I don't know why I even put this much in here. And then you're going to use your warm water. Now the warm water is just going to make it so it's actually a little bit more liquidy, because it is going to be very thick and pasty. So you will definitely need that water to kind of make it a little bit more liquid. So this is where you're going to have to kind of judge it by yourself. You're going to want it a little bit more. This is too liquidy. Alright, so see here how it's like really runny? You don't want it that runny. You actually want it a little bit more dense. So let's add a little more cornstarch to kind of thicken it up, and a little bit more glue. So this is all, someone said the best thing to me the other day at work. It was, this can be more of an art than a science. So definitely, I am definitely more of an art person. So nothing here is done by science. Not here anyways. But it's just like baking. Sometimes it's a little bit more of an art than a science in that case too. Alright, so that should be a little bit better. It's a little runny on the sides, but this is the consistency you want. You want it to have a little bit of a fall rate. Obviously you don't want it being like water. You want it to be a little bit thicker than that. So that's good there. Then you're gonna blow up your balloon. I'm not gonna do it right on camera here. So I have my backup ready to go. Let's get the glue out of the way. So after you've prepped this, you can put that to the side for a minute, and you're going to pull out your petroleum jelly. So this is where it's going to get a little messy. Now I should have warned you beginning, this product in general is a little bit messy, so always have either a paper towel or a towel on hand. And you will kind of need a garbage bag and a chair, a wooden chair, preferably nothing with upholstery for later as well. Just because when you go to hang these, and I'll describe and get into more detail with that in a minute, but so right now you're just gonna kind of saturate this balloon. Use as much Vaseline as you want, because honestly this is what prevents the string from sticking to the balloon. And the reason you don't want the string sticking to the balloon, because when you go to pop this guy, you don't want him to drag the string. You don't want the glue to adhere to the balloon, so the string gets pulled in and kind of sucks it up, so it kind of just, it almost ends up looking more like this balloon one, only sunken in. So you don't want that. So this Vaseline is very important. I heard people can use olive oil as well. So just anything that's going to keep it from sticking. So that's what we're going to do here. See, our hands do get a little bit grody. So just so you know, that happens. We don't need any more of that. So I'm going to actually set my balloon on there and get that out of the way. In there. So I didn't bring a towel because I didn't think of a towel. But that's okay. So we're gonna go right on into the string. So how much string you use is completely up to you and your project. So let's go back and we'll refer to this. This one is, I found this was just the right amount. You get enough space in between, you get some holes and whatever, but it's up to you. If you want more string, if you want it to be kind of thicker, add more string. If you want it to be a little bit more showy, less string. So again, it's an art, not a science, completely up to you. What I do is I measure it out first. So if I go, oh, I need this much string, I'll cut there and measure it out. Sometimes if this ball isn't that big, you can throw the whole thing in, let it absorb the string, absorb the material. But again, it's completely up to you. We're gonna throw this to the side. And this is where it gets messy. Now you can use your knife or your mixing spatula and kind of mix it around. The problem I had with this though is if you mixed it with the spatula, which was what I used last time, I found you got more knots in the string than you wanted. So I end up using my hands most of the time. I can deal with getting a little goopy, and that's fine with me. So I let it sit in the string. And again, you don't have to do it all in one big thick piece. If you want to do it in little sections, that's fine too. I just found it looked a little bit more consistent on the actual balloon if I just used one big piece of string. Another trick I used, I don't have a fork here for it, but it did look really good, is you hold a fork on the side and let the string go through the prongs of the fork, almost like this. So it helped drain the excess glue off, but I don't have one with me, so we're just going to do it by hand. Draining the extra glue off makes it a little bit easier on your balloon. If you do have too much glue, you will end up cutting out the extra glue pieces on your balloon, well, on your string casing after. So make sure you drain off as much glue as you can and just start anywhere. So I'm going to start at the bottom, that's so you don't see the end of the string line, and then I'm just going to continually go around. So just go everywhere. I like to cross over my starting line at the first little roundabout, just so you can see, so you don't see actually the seam of the string. So I try to hide it as much as possible, and then you'll loop around. Again, it gets messy. You might need newspaper or anything to just lie it on. We'll clear out some more of the string. You'll just loop around again. And of course, do as many times as you want. This is all custom. This is what you want to do for your project. So I'm going to end it right there, even though it's obviously not going to be very filling. So we're just doing a demo because I've already done them. I don't need any more of these, but as you can see, of course, this looks empty. But up at the top, this is kind of the idea you'll get. You want to make sure you don't have any sagging lines. Notice how this is a sagging line, which means we're going to tighten it up. We're going to find the point where it's sagged. You just don't want, you want to prevent those from happening because it can make it look more artificial. So cross over the full balloon to help prevent sagging lines. We'll go around, and there you go. Now, again, ending point, you can end where you started. What I did here is I molded them together to kind of create one line, and that's fine too. So ideas are up to you. If you don't want to see any of the end points, mold the lines together to create just one line. So that's the idea that you want to do. You'll wrap that up millions and millions of times to kind of give you this creative look here, and then you're going to go ahead and hang dry them. Now how you hang dry them is, well, what I did was I took 2 chairs and placed either a ruler. I had an extra piece of like thin wood that I used my extra leftover string, and I just made a little knot and tied the nose of the balloon. So this little extra piece where you blow up the balloon, just tie that and make sure the string doesn't fall onto your balloon. So tie any of the extra string there. And then you're gonna hang this and tie this onto whatever it is. So if it's wood, if it's a ruler, anything you don't mind getting a little bit of glue on, you'll hang that, and then you will just leave it there, and you're going to leave it hanging there for a day or 2, depending on when the balloon is dry and ready to go. So you'll notice, because the string will be obviously hard. You'll also notice the balloon either shrinking or anything else of that nature. And you also, good idea is to put newspaper under the balloons because they will drip off any excess. So if you've had too much excess, you will see at the bottom points of glue. So this is where the glue will kind of pool. You don't want that to happen, so that's why we asked you, or that's why we said, you know, make sure you don't have too much glue on there. So all the glue is going to kind of pool up there, so newspaper down on the bottom of the floor, you can just toss away when you're done the project. So when you're ready to kind of pop this, now obviously mine isn't ready, and you'll see in a second why not. When you're ready to pop it, you'll know because you'll have crackling glue. And the way to test this, obviously other than it being hard, is to press into the balloon. So just dent into the balloon and you'll kind of hear it like crackling. That just means the glue is tearing off the balloon a little bit. So you press in, you'll hear it, okay, it's good, it's been a day, you know it's ready to go. What I suggest doing before you even pop the balloon is go around in any of these big holes or any of the holes at all, just press into the balloon, kind of releasing the balloon, separating the balloon and the rope or the string, whatever you want to call it, from the balloon itself. So you want to separate the glue by pressing in. It'll kind of create a kind of distance between them. And then when you're ready to actually pop it, you're going to take the nose of the balloon again, and you're going to kind of stretch it out. And you'll stretch it because you don't want to pop a huge hole, you just want to pop a tiny hole. And then it will slowly shrink. As it's slowly shrinking, you're going to kind of press into those holes again, separating the balloon from the string. Now, see this mess here? This is what's going to happen if you didn't wait long enough. So if you didn't wait long enough, your string was still soggy, this is the mess you're going to end up with. If you had too much glue, didn't Vaseline the balloon, didn't lube up the balloon, this is the mess that you're going to have. So it kind of looks like a disgusting bird's nest, and that's what's going to happen if you've missed one of the important steps. So it's kind of important to follow every single step, because if you don't, you do end up getting this little massacre or whatever. So we'll put that junk to the side, because that's what happens when something goes wrong here. So go back, make sure you've gone through all the instructions, make sure you've lubed the balloon, make sure that you waited at least 24 hours, maybe even longer, depending on how much glue was on there, how thick the string was, and make sure you've checked to see if it was hard enough, everything else. And don't stab into the balloon popping it, because you'll just, again, this mess. So just warning signs. Now we're going to get into the final look of the project. So it's completely up to you what you do. You don't have to do the 3 nests like I did. Maybe you want to have a hanging light fixture. You'll just take one of them. I don't know if I can separate these guys anymore because I've glued them. But let's see. Let's try to separate one, because I don't really need this anymore. So let's take this guy apart. So you can either have it hanging like so. We spray painted ours, you don't have to, but it always leaves a nice finish. So you can spray paint it all one color, you can kind of do an ombre effect like we did. And again, it can be either a light fixture or it could be just a table centerpiece. The options are all yours, but they do make really cool craft ideas. What I also like about it is, again, you can do anything. I love this project. I would do it again in my new house when we get stuff going. I might do another centerpiece with it because it was really cool. But what I do have to tell you guys is the bottom opening here, we cut some strings to fit our glass piece in. So let me just show you guys. This one won't fit because this wasn't the pieces we used. But if you want it to fit, you'll have to kind of judge it and see how much you need to cut off. So if I wanted this to fit in here, I would have to cut off another little section here. Let's see if I can do this. So we'll cut this little area off. So cut some of the strings off here. And then now it should kind of just swallow the glass there. Yeah, there we go. So that's kind of what it will do for you. So, and then you'll put your lights in there or anything. We used water beads, and then we used submersible lights to kind of give the effect that we wanted for our lights. But you can do anything. Maybe you just want to have a candle in there, and that's fine. So you'll have to cut the bottom to adjust the sizes for any of the centerpieces. Now, if it's a hanging light fixture, you will have to make sure you actually not cut any of these side pieces. So you'll actually need to make it tighter and form it a little tighter so it can actually hold. And you also might need extra string for reinforcement to hold it. So, but that will be all up to your discretion depending on what you're using it for. Again, It will take any spray paints, really, oil, latex, all of them will work fine. And you also might, when you have the project finished, if you did use too much glue and you had some extra glue on yours, you can kind of see here a little bit, not too much, the extra glue that I had. So it's just little flaps of glue on top of the string there, and that's fine. Some people are very finicky about that, and they'll go and you can cut them all out. I used a box cutter and I just kind of cut out the big ones that we had problems with. But if you don't really care too much, sometimes it looks really neat. You just spray paint over it and it'll look really cool. So that choice is completely up to you. You'll have to figure that out all on your own. But that's it. It is a little bit of a messy project, but I mean, it does turn out really nice. We added a little flower on for some nice little touches and some centerpiece looks. So I will post the pictures now for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. And you guys will see more of me next week. Bye now.